Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Welcome back inside the Lock Shop, everyone. Nielson and Huss back with you once again. Our first post-Super Bowl episode. Of course, all of these brought to you by our wonderful partners at Coolbet Canada. Sign up for a code today or account today. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do. 100% deposit bonus up to $200. Huss, there he is. Back from Vegas. Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl in tow.
Yeah, it was, a great trip. An amazing game that ended the right way for yours truly. Just thinking back, I'd love to go back to that Futures show we did in August. The Mahomes MVP and the Chiefs 11-1 futures. It all came in. The account's looking good right now. But regardless of winning the bets, I mean, when your team gets to the top of the mountain in such an incredible way, a hell of a lot of fun has been had by your boy the last few weeks. I would have loved to have been at the parade today. I've got a lot of friends in KC. They're there right now. They got a couple million people rolling into downtown KC to celebrate it. But, I mean, what a game, what a team. Patrick Mahomes, what can you say about him? Andy Reid, the job he did. And the Chiefs' offensive line. Ironically, my parlay, everything hit with the exception of the McKinnon receiving yards.
I know.
I was thinking about this, Dusty. The Chiefs' O-line was so good and so dominant against that Philly defense. They really didn't need to ever dump the ball off to McKinnon like Mahomes normally does. They're running the ball straight up with no hesitation. Part of the reason why Mahomes won the MVP without even having to throw for 200 yards. But that second half was an absolute clinic. No penalties, no sacks. Scored every time they got the ball.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. That call late, but and they won that game. And as I've said all year, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Even down 10 in the Super Bowl, he did it again, man.
Did you pre-scout Vegas for next year's Super Bowl? Like, where do you watch it? Because we're planning on doing maybe a little Lock Shop trip next year down there. Where'd you watch? Yeah. What'd you do?
Well, we were at the Cosmo. A friend of mine had a big suite. There was a couple options to go to some bigger events, which are really cool. But listen, with the Chiefs in it, we had been gallivanting quite a bit. We were downstairs and then went up. We had a great spot for the game. Nice balcony overlooking Vegas to get some deep breaths at halftime and whatnot. Although I did watch the halftime show. Rihanna brought it. Wow. I forgot how many bangers she's had. Was it 11 or 12 different songs in that? Well,
there was 2 or 3 songs on there that my wife, like songs she didn't do. That we were like, oh, she's going to do this for sure. So like this is why this is the type of person you get for a Super Bowl. Bang out 12 bangers, right? Like it's that simple.
Yeah. Well, and a couple of big, interesting prop bets. 11-1 on Bitch Better Have My Money to be the first song. 11-1, I believe, on Purple Gatorade for the winning team.
Yeah, that hit too. Yep.
That one hit as well. And shout out to everyone that rode with me on the plus 625 Jalen Hurts fumble. Who could have imagined that would have happened the way that it did? I mean, and I feel terrible for Hurts because he played
well, didn't he?
Absolutely incredible game. Yeah. But obviously when you put one on the carpet like that and it gets returned for a touchdown, you know that's going to be impactful, and it really was. And it was nice to get it, but MVP prop on Mahomes, the fumble on Jalen Hurts, the obviously the outright in the game and the future. What a way to end by far my best NFL betting season ever. I mean, the 61% or whatever is something that probably isn't going to happen again next year. However, a preseason MVP and a preseason Chiefs wager probably will, and it could very well happen again.
I wouldn't put it past us to roll back what we did this past year. Like, for example, in the playoffs, I mean, I'll take our fantasy champion thing here because I ended up going 9-5. I was 9-4. You were 8-5. 70% and 60% in the playoffs to us, right? So,
congratulations on that chain.
Yeah. Thanks. Rivalrings.com is where these will eventually be available next year for fantasy season. So I got the chain. They're going to do some promotional shoots. I got to give this back right away, but this is where you're going to get it. But I mean, overall, We crushed it this year. We crushed the National Football League this year. You were 60% in the regular season. I was 57%. I went 9 of 13 in the playoffs. You went 8 of 13 in the playoffs. I'm confident that we run it back at least close to the same level next year. No pressure, but it worked.
Let's just say the bar has been raised. The bar has been raised quite high in the lock shop. And I'll say this. Normally, the Monday after the Super Bowl is the most depressing day of the entire year. That was not the case for me this year. I was still basking in the glory of the Chiefs win, but now it's sinking in that we don't have football for a while. However, I'm already getting handicapping the XFL. It's coming up in about 10 days. I can't wait to talk about it in the lock shop. Actually, just quickly on that, a couple significant CFL players apparently heading XFL way.
Darnell Sankey, that's the big one. Darnell Sankey going down there. And I find this a little fascinating. We won't spend too much time on it. We have lots to get to in today's episode, but Darnell Sankey led the league in tackles 2 years ago, led the league in tackles again this year. I would think is probably due for a pretty good CFL payday. The XFL, they're only playing like a 10-game regular season or whatever it is. Some of the quarterbacks will make 150, 200, but pretty much everybody else is making 65,000. So it looks like he's going down there for less money, but I'm wondering if he's sitting here going, look, I led the CFL in tackles 2 years in a row, didn't get a sniff, didn't get an offer, go down to XFL, maybe a different set of eyes sees him, and he gets an NFL look. I'm trying to, because this is a $200,000 guy on the defensive side of the ball here.
For sure. How old is he?
How old is Sankey? Let's see. Oh, and the other thing that was brought to my attention, Sankey's 28. He's got a lot of good football left. Okay. The other thing that was brought to my attention, XFL Championship weekend is the same weekend CFL camps open. So I wonder if, I don't know what the rules are or what it works, but can Sankey go down there, play? If he doesn't make the championship game, he's going to be done even earlier and come back and play in the CFL. I wonder if that's something that ends up happening.
That's a great question.
Or even if it's allowed. I don't even know if it's allowed right now.
Big loss for the league. Hey, the bottom line, he's a free agent. He can go where he is, but it does it does make you wonder if that money opportunity just wasn't there in the Canadian Football League. But
I feel like somebody would have paid him, man.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, you've seen what some of those guys, and obviously big moves in Edmonton, Winnipeg. Looking forward to getting to that. And hey, before long, I know it's got a long wait for NFL, but couple months we'll be talking.
I can't wait to be betting on the CFL, buddy. I gotta be. I'm working this game today, so I shouldn't bet on it. So I have to pick this game instead. It's tough. Hey, but before we move on, football Super Bowl 58. Here's the. I'll give you the top 10. Well, look at this. Holy shit! Look at the Detroit Lions right now. Let me lay this out for you. Kansas City, 6-1. These are all at coolbet.com. Buffalo plus 650, so right behind KC, so almost neck and neck there. The Eagles at 8-1, the Niners at 8-1, the Bengals at 10-1, the Cowboys at 16-1, the Chargers at 22-1, the Dolphins at 28-1, the Ravens are 30-1, and then Green Bay and Detroit at 33-1. And the Jets, Jags, and Rams at 35-1. So, Huss, I mean, I'm sure you want to chime in on the Bills and Chiefs almost being at the same number, but anything else jump off the page there?
A couple. Well, listen, I think there might be some value on a couple teams if you're really high on what they might do with a new quarterback. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Jets, listen, I mean, I still think Kansas City's the best team, and the AFC is so
stacked,
competitive.
Yeah.
But when you think about the talent on that Jets defensive side of the football, the fact that they had the offensive and defensive rookies of the year, you get an Aaron Rodgers going there that all of a sudden is sort of revitalized. Tell you what, I don't think that it'll be as easy for the Bills to just walk to a division title, especially with the question marks about what Tua's situation for next year is going to be. And I got to tell you, your Lions are pretty pesky. I can't but help think that there'll be an NFC team or two that maybe surprises people next year. I think that the Detroit Lions could very well be in that mix right now.
Just stop, Huss. Don't get me excited.
Yeah. Well, maybe that is a little bit aggressive. All I know is that Philly is going to have some company. I think the Niners will be back, certainly competitive again. They have a quarterback for the NFC Championship. We might see a different story. But it's the Chiefs. It's 6-1, I think, right now, considering what they've done this year and what was supposed to be the rebuilding year. frankly, I think there's some value on the favorites right now. I don't know why they're so close to a team like Buffalo, but I'll take it.
If anybody's been following my passion recently, it's a guy I've dubbed the investment, Trevor Lawrence. And the Jacksonville Jags are 35-1 right now. I think this is probably the best number you'll get them at.
Yeah,
like if you think about the Jags right now, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, another year, got that little bit of playoff experience, looked good at times, rattled at times. They've got a Super Bowl winning head coach there. They're adding Calvin Ridley to an offense that was all pretty damn dynamic last year. And Calvin Ridley's still in his prime, man, right? Like Calvin Ridley just hasn't played in 18 months, but they're adding Calvin Ridley to Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. I'd like to see them keep Ingram. And they've got a defense that actually was not bad last year either. They're 35-1 right now. So I feel like by the time the season starts, and it's tough because the AFC is so difficult. Like he's going to have to go through Mahomes and Burrow, and I get that. It's tough. But I think it's the best number you're going to get them at right now. So I don't mind the Jags.
Too, though. I mean, weak division. I mean, you can pretty much count on them probably winning that division and being in the playoffs.
The home playoff game, maybe.
I mean, once you get there, and then, it's going to be a couple of big boy games in the divisional round in the conference championship. And that's not going to change for the foreseeable future in the AFC. I can tell you that much.
All right, we are going to get to our picks for the Genesis Invitational. That'll be the bulk of the episode today. But let's bang out some stuff in the NHL tonight. Not a crazy busy night in the NHL, Huss, but and you'll have the Lock Shop Play of the Day coming up a little bit later on CoolBet Socials. I'm playing a little bit safer on a smaller parlay, but what do you got going on here tonight, Huss?
I'm going to hit 2 games in the Lock Shop today. First of all, this Avalanche Wild game is going to be quite interesting. I know the Avs have been sort of up and down as of late. So have the Wild, to be honest. And they had that win the other day against the Devils in a shootout. But before that coming in, I mean, they had some ugly, ugly losses right now. This is a late game tonight as well. It's in Minnesota, but it's the 8:30 start, kind of like the Winnipeg game that started at 9 p.m. on Saturday night. I think the Avalanche get the win. I like them on the money line, plus 117 right now. When I put it in last night and made the bet, it was plus 123. Then I'm going to go to my guys, the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have not been playing very well lately, but they do have these 4 games in hand, and it is absolutely imperative for them to get some wins, especially against teams at the bottom of the standings like the Anaheim Ducks. And I think the Ducks, in a way, are exactly what the doctor ordered for the Buffalo Sabres. We know how much they like to score goals. They're minus 207 on the money line. Way too chalky to give out as a pick. So let's get a little aggressive. We'll drop them on the puck line, minus 1.5 at plus 119. If you do want to put those together, plus 375 on a parlay for those 2 games. And a little heads up, I think I'm going to roll with the Oilers in reg for the CoolBet pick, but check the CoolBet socials a little later on for confirmation on that. You got a McDavid prop.
I got a McDavid prop here, and like I said, both of these are pretty chalky. Probably not going to play them on their own, but I like them together. The Rangers have been a juggernaut for like a month and a half. They get the Canucks, who are no better, possibly even worse, with Rick Tocchet as head coach. So I'm going to take the Rangers money line. Thought about it. I mean, there might be some value on this if you just take the Rangers in regulation tonight. I didn't even look at that number, but I'm assuming it's probably worth playing on its own.
I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, tell me what that number is.
Minus 112.
So, yeah, boom. That's not bad. If you want to play just this game straight up, Rangers in regulations probably. The Rangers offensively, I know they've added Tarasenko. And, hey, Tarasenko hit my Lock Shop Play of the Day. I had him for a point in his game. First game, 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, goal. Boom. Done. It was a no-sweat Lock Shop. But they've scored 25 goals in their last 5 games. Like, they scored 12 in their last 2. They're averaging 5 goals per game in their last 5 games, and they get this Canucks team that's completely falling apart right now. So I like the Rangers money line at minus 178. And then when I went to CoolBet today, I thought for sure McDavid's number is going to be at 4.5 shots, but it's at 3.5 shots. Now it's minus 167. But this guy's had 4 or more shots in 12 of his last 14 games. Like, this guy is just 7 shots last game. They got shut out.
That's why it's minus 167.
It's minus 167. He's hit 4 more in 12 of his last 14. And he's coming off a game in which he was held pointless for the first time since the year 2022. So he is going to be fired up going into this game tonight. He's going to be putting a bunch of pucks on net. He had 7 shots in that loss to the Habs. I think he's going to be hungry tonight. So I love McDavid over 3.5 shots tonight at -167. If you parlay it with just the Rangers money line, it'll be +150. If you want to try to milk a little bit more out of this, McDavid over 3.5 shots, Rangers in regulation, that'll get you a pretty nice number, well over +200, I would think. And you know what's nuts? McDavid over 3.5 shots at -167 is actually better value right now than McDavid 2 points. Like, that's how insane it is right now. McDavid over 1.5 points is like -179, which is just unheard of in the National Hockey League. But McDavid to get 2 points is -170 something tonight, which is nuts.
We got to get the under half a point and figure out when in the next month is going to be the one night that McDavid doesn't get a point.
Wouldn't that be something? That would be something. You, Chaz, is in on the YouTube chat. Says that's +203 parlay if you go Rangers in regulation. So Big Uke, thanks for figuring that out for us. And hey, before we get to the Genesis, which we're going to bang out here right away, Adam on the YouTube chat, Huss, is asking Scotty's bets. And we could do that on tomorrow's episode, right? You're the foremost leader in curling betting in the country.
You know what? I'm glad they brought it up right now. Let's see. Oh, opening draws already up at Coolbet right now. And we've got the full outrights. I've actually got Matty Dunstone, who just won Manitoba, coming on WST today for you curling fans. If you want to check us out, 1 o'clock over on YouTube over at Winnipeg Sports Talk. He'll be on in the second hour of the program. We can absolutely, and this is great too. We've got your winner options, top 2, top 3, top 4 options to qualify from pool play, Group A and B winners, exact final matchups.
Are we smelling a Scotty's episode tomorrow? Is that what we're doing right now?
Count on a heavy diet of women's curling bets tomorrow as we get you ready for the weekend. You're going to be heading out, so it'll be perfect to do that Thursday because, of course, things are going to get going on Friday with the first rocks being thrown.
Also, before we get to our golf picks here, Big Uke there on YouTube as well says it's +1087 if you put all 4 plays together tonight. So if you want to parlay the whole Lock Shop hockey card tonight, you get +1087, which I like. All right, Huss, Genesis, Tiger in the house. We'll get to Tiger in a second, but let's bang through our picks here first, man. Tony Finau on the card again. God, there is nothing that, like, Patrick Mahomes is jealous of your love of Tony Finau, Huss.
Well, let me tell you what, Tony played very well at Waste Management. Tied T14 at 8 under par. Tony's got a great history at this tournament. I mean, he's been runner-up twice in this event, once lost in a playoff. I mean, he has really, and this course in a lot of ways with his length built for a guy like Tony Finau. Let me just pull the odds up as I switched over to the curling. But listen, Tony's form's been good. Great course history. Loves the Riv. Has played well in the Genesis before. Our defending champ has gone to Live. So, I mean, I think this is somewhat pretty wide open right now. So Tony's definitely on the card. And I'll tell you what, I mean, man, I loved what Justin Thomas did on the weekend. First of all, Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler, I was off him, and basically was just because he couldn't sink a putt. But, man, he was playing so well as of late. Sooner or later, they were going to start dropping, and it seems like he just needed to wait for a major-style field to really get it together, and what a performance he had. That being said, JT in the top 5. I love the way he's playing right now. And I know Rahm, McIlroy, and Scheffler are the top favorites at 8, 9, and 11 to 1 respectively. But I think that 16 to 1 number on JT is great value. I certainly think that he can be in the mix. Of course, that new PGA documentary show on Netflix comes out today.
Today, yes. What's a full swing?
Full swing. I can't wait to I'll try and watch it tonight and give a little bit of some thoughts on it for tomorrow's show as well, if I can get my hands on it. That being said, JT loves the spotlight, loves going head-to-head with these guys. I think he'll revel in the opportunity. So I'm jumping on JT and Tony, both under 20 to 1. And a guy that we didn't see last week, but certainly has been very, very competitive. And you know, when you see a number like 40 to 1 beside Will Zalatoris, jump on that too. So there's my little bit of a long shot today, but I'm really looking in at 2 guys this week, Justin Thomas and Tony Finau, 16 and 18 to 1 at Coolbet. two of the best numbers you'll find anywhere when it comes to the Genesis Open and the odds on those guys at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm going a little bit outside the 20-1 range, but with some guys that I really like. I mean, I was on Max Homa before I even looked at the odds, and I saw I could get him at 25-1, and I was like, all right, this is a pretty good number for a guy who's been playing pretty well and isn't coming out of a weekend where, there's this huge emotional letdown because he was in the mix, at the Scottsdale event, Waste Management. He finished T39. Right, so he was kind of on cruise control for the weekend, probably a little bit laid back, wouldn't be emotionally drained coming into a course, an event that he's had a lot of success at in the past, or darn close to having a lot of success at. Plus, he's been playing extremely well. I mean, outside of this T39 at Waste Management, prior to that, came from behind to win the Farmers Open, third at the Century, 17th going back to December, had a T4 in December as well, had a couple of wins in the summer last year. He's been playing outstanding. And at this event, he's come very close. In fact, what did he win? 2 years ago, did he win?
He beat Tony in the playoff.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
That was maybe the biggest win of his entire career. Remember, he's a California kid, so to be able to do it at the Riv, I think was a lifelong dream for him. And that victory, I'm not sure whether that was his first on tour. It might have been. I think really propelled him,
got him
to
going.
The player that he is right now. 25.
Very comfortable nice here, right? Very comfortable.
With Neiman going to Live, I guess that technically makes Max Homa still the defending champion.
He's the defending champ, right? He didn't bail and go to Live. So yeah, we'll get on Homa here at 25-1. I'm gonna get on Vic Hovland as well for this event, and that's a nice number too at 30-1. And where do you come out on this 30-1 number? Let's just start there with Vic Hovland. I mean, it's a strong field, right, Huss? So you're not going to see maybe him in that 18-20 range, but I was still a little bit surprised to see him at this number.
You know what? He's just been a little off over the last kind of month as opposed to where we've seen the height of Vic Hovland right now. He made the cut. He was 2 under, what was tied for 42nd at the Waste Management. But I'll tell you what, I mean, I think he's played well at this before. He's a guy that can hit it long and just needs to kind of get hot right now. This could very well be the spot.
He's played here twice, 5th and 4th. 2 top 5 finishes in his 2 trips here.
So, right, I mean, this could be exactly what the doctor ordered, maybe to get him back to premium Big Vic. So I don't mind it. 30-1 seems very fair and actually a really good number considering – course history is important, especially for guys that maybe have been not quite at their best. They can come back to a course and all of a sudden, boom, it just locks in. I like the value there on Vic. Obviously, Homa.
You make an interesting point on Hovland on how he hasn't he's been off a bit, but he hasn't been brutal, right? I saw a stat earlier today. He's played 24 rounds this year and has shot par or better on every single round. He's not been over par yet this year, but I don't know if he's gone low enough to get the job done just yet. But you said come back to a course that you've been this close to winning a couple of times at 30-1. I think it's a pretty good number. And then Adam Scott at the Riv, 50-1. The guy is the all-time money leader, over $5 million won at this event and at this course. So it's a longer shot, but Adam Scott at 50-1. I'm gonna roll the dice here with him one more time. I think 3 of the last 4 times he's played in this thing, he's been in contention heading into the weekend. So you got that going for you.
Listen, Adam Scott has I mean, you want to talk about horses for courses, whatever it is about Riv, he just comes in and plays lights out. He's a former winner of the tournament. If you're looking at someone lower down the board that's got some great intangibles when it comes to Riviera, Adam Scott, absolutely that guy. Okay, before we finish up with the Genesis, Eldrick Tiger Woods is coming back, and I promised that we would
What's the number?
To make the cut.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods to make the cut plus 147. How in the world do we not bet that?
Well, you have to, right?
I was stunned. I thought it might be more like around even money just because so many people will bet on Tiger. But yeah, Tiger Woods to make the cut, plus 147. And
the shine's not off of Tiger, right? Like, are they not getting the money that we sort of expected? It's still Tiger, plus 147 just to make the cut.
Listen, I mean, maybe you just think that he hasn't played before. Let's remember, it's not the golf shots that are lacking for Tiger. It's been the walking, this plantar fasciitis. And I don't think he was going to come back until he's able to play. So if Tiger's in it, he's planning to win it. He can at least make the cut. Let's jump on it. Plus 147 for Eldrick to play the weekend.
You kind of have to. You have to. I mean, you're not going to. You're not going to get on plus money for Tiger to make a cut? Come on. You got to do it. You got to ride with us on that one for sure. So there you go. Genesis Invitational, a little six-pack there. We got four plays tonight in the National Hockey League with the Lock Shop. Took a look at some early Super Bowl odds as well. And Hustle, have your Lock Shop play of the day on all the Cool Bet socials a little bit later on today. And then I'll give you some puck picks tomorrow too, but we'll dive into the world of curling, right? Into the Scotties tomorrow.
I can't wait. This is the time that's football or NFL ends. What a perfect timing. We go into the Scotties, then we'll have the Briar. Next thing you know, it'll be the trade deadline. We'll be pushing to the playoffs, and soon the snow will be gone. We'll be golfing ourselves, getting ready to hear you on TSN calling CFL games.
Can't come soon enough.
All of it, and through the entire time, the Chiefs will be Super Bowl champs, and I'll be happy about it.
Talk to you tomorrow, man.
You got it.
See ya.